of fiscal federalism in India. Coming once in 5 years, they are expected to build on the reports of their predecessors, take account of the experience of the preceding 5 years, and prescribe the devolution of resources from the center to the states and the horizontal distribution of devolved among the states. The 16th Finance Commission has been constituted under the chairmanship of Dr. Arvind Panagaria. The government of Kerala is convening a conclave of finance ministers and finance of various states and eminent economists of international distinction to discuss various issues to be presented before the 16th Finance Commission with a view to strengthen cooperative federalism in the country. I would like to invite the Chief Secretary of Kerala, Srimati Sharada Muralidharan IAS, to deliver the welcome address. Madam, please.
Welcome all to the conclave of finance ministers of Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Telangana, Kerala and Punjab. This conclave is intended as a platform to articulate and build consensus on issues pertaining to center-state finances and the development needs of similarly placed states. The constitutional mandate under Article 280(1) for the is integral to the concept of cooperative federalism that binds the Union of India. It is also central to the understanding of regional complexities, replicable best practices and pulling together of the best ideas for nation building. The terms of reference, as you know, of the 16th Finance Commission include the distribution between the Union and state of the net proceeds of taxes, as well as the inter-state allocation between states. It touches on the principles and the sums for grant and aid of state revenue out of the Consolidated Fund of India. It looks at measures to augment the state consolidated fund to supplement resources of local governments on the basis of the State Finance Commission recommendations. But all this notwithstanding, there are concerns, and these concerns pertain to the risk of vertical imbalance due to asymmetrical assignment of revenues, revenue sources. It is a fact that the states account for 62.4% of expenditure, but the total revenue share is 37.3%. And there are also revenues which are coming in outside the purview of the ambit of devolution, like cesses and surcharges, etc. Varying Union Finance Commissions have come up with different criteria for tax devolution and weightages, therefore. They have also relied heavily on the demographic pertaining to the 2011 census, not 1971. The question also is those states which were in similarly placed situations but have, through good governance and administrative reform, have managed to actually improve the status and quality of living, would also need to be incentivized for the same. There is a question also which has been coming up over the years of the, particularly with increasing devolution to the local governments, there has also been an increasing centralization and conditionalities which are making the grant to local governments behave more and more unitary in nature and perform like a centrally sponsored scheme rather than a devolution of rights. So these are some of the questions that would be looked at in the conclave. We have a gathering of very eminent personalities from the political leadership, administrative leadership, and we also have thinkers and academics of global standing here today to deliberate on these matters. First of all, I would like to announce the august presence of the Honorable Chief Minister of Kerala, Sri Pinarayi Vijayan. Welcome, sir, to this gathering. As well as the presence here of the Honorable Leader of Opposition, Sri V.D. Sadishan. Welcome, sir. The Honorable Deputy Chief Minister of Telangana, in charge of Planning and Finances, Sri Bhatti Vikramarka Mallu, is also here with us today. Welcome, sir. The Honorable Finance Minister of Tamil Nadu, Sri Thangam Tenarishu, is with us. Thank you, sir, for being with us. The Honorable Revenue Minister of Karnataka, Sri Krishna Vaira Gowda, is also with us today. So, welcome, sir. And we have, apart from the southern states, we also have the Honorable Minister for Finance and Planning of Punjab, Sri Sardar Harpal Singh Cheema. Welcome, sir. Honorable Finance Minister of this host state, Kerala, Sri K.N. Balagopal. I would also like to welcome Dr. Arvind Subramaniam, former Chief Economic Advisor of Government of India and currently Senior Fellow at the Peterson Institute for International Economics, who will be delivering a special address, as well as Sri K.R. Rao, Special Secretary Telangana, Sri L.K. Atik, ACS Karnataka, Sri Udaya Chandran, Principal Secretary Tamil Nadu, Sri Bajendra Navneet, OSD to the 16th Finance Commission in Tamil Nadu, Dr. Thomas Isaac, who is a former Finance Minister of the state of Kerala, Professor V.K. Ramachandran, the Vice Chairperson of the Kerala State Planning Board, Dr. K.M. Abraham, Chief Principal Secretary to the Chief Minister, Sri K.M. Chandrasekhar, former Cabinet Secretary, Professor M.A. Umman, Chairman of the 4th State Finance Commission in the government in Kerala, Professor Prabhat Patnaik, Professor J.D. Ghosh, Sri R. Mohan, Dr. Pinaki Chakraborty, Dr. K.J. Joseph, Professor K.N. Harilal, Dr. C. Veeramani, Professor Lekha Chakraborty, Dr. P. Shahina, Dr. Rakhi Timothy, as well as Dr. C.P. Chandrasekhar, who will be summing up the proceedings of this conclave. Thank you all, and once again, let me welcome everyone who has come here, all the delegates, all the participants. We hope to have very meaningful deliberations. Thank you all.
Now let's invite Sri K.N. Balagopal, Honorable Finance Minister of Kerala, to deliver the presidential address. Sir, please.
Honorable Chief Minister of Kerala, Honorable Deputy Chief Minister of Telangana, Sri Bhatti Vikramarka Malluji, Honorable Finance Minister of Tamil Nadu, Thiru Thangam Tenarishu, Honorable Finance Minister of Punjab, Sri Harpal Singh Cheema, Honorable Revenue Minister from Karnataka, Sri Krishna Vaira Gowda, Honorable Leader of Opposition, Sri V.D. Sadishan, Chief Secretary, Srimati Sharada Muralidharan, Sri Keshavendra Kumar, Finance Expenditure Secretary, Secretaries from different states, distinguished guests, delegates, officers and friends. First of all, I extend my heartfelt gratitude for your valuable time to participate in this great event. There are two main reasons why we thought of convening this conclave. The first objective is to draw the attention of the nation to the worsening imbalances in the fiscal system of the country. We are all aware of the existence of vertical and horizontal imbalances in the fiscal architecture of India. They have been worsening over time, and it has reached its worst phase with the recommendations of the 15th Finance Commission. The system of cooperative federalism in the country is in bad crisis now. Kerala is one of the worst suffering states in the country, but Kerala is not alone. Almost all states, regardless of the political party in power, are suffering from hitherto unprecedented fiscal squeeze. The state governments are struggling to fulfill their responsibilities to the people, especially to the most deprived sections of the society. We have taken the issue to the highest court of India. We have tried to raise these issues in the parliament with the help of honorable members from the state. We organized a public meeting in Delhi which received overwhelming support from all quarters. This conclave is a continuation of such efforts we have undertaken earlier. I am sure that other state governments in this country are also planning to take up similar initiatives. We are all committed to improve the efficiency of the fiscal system in the country so that the states are strengthened to fulfill their constitutional responsibilities. In fact, strengthening the states is the only way to fiscally empower India. The second objective of this conclave is to have broad-based consultation on the state's memorandum to be submitted to the 16th Finance Commission. We have many distinguished guests assembled here, including honorable ministers, renowned academicians, and senior bureaucrats. As hosts, our responsibility is mainly to listen and to note down the valuable suggestions. Therefore, I am not making a detailed presentation except flagging of one or two important points. Let me first make a point regarding the vertical imbalances in the system. As observed by the 15th Finance Commission, the state in India accounts for nearly 62% of the total public expenditure in the country, while their revenue entitlement is only about 37%. But what happened since then? The vertical imbalance has worsened further. The union government is cutting down the size of the divisible pool in various ways. It mobilizes revenue through sources which are not divisible, such as cess and surcharges, disinvestment, monetization of public assets, RBI profits, etc. Although the states are provided with 41% of the total divisible pool, what actually the states received is only around 30% due to the rising share of cess and surcharges. The following developments are worth mentioning here. 1. The abolition of Planning Commission. 2. The enactment of FRBM Act, which the Union has been able to adhere to only in 1 year since 2003, yet imposed on the states. 3. Above all, the introduction of GST in the country. 4. And the centre's approach of late towards off-budget borrowing. These are important landmarks that systematically deprive the fiscal autonomy of the states in India. There is another unwelcoming trend that needs to be urgently reversed. The share of FC grants, which are unconditional in the total grants received by the state, declined from 31.2% to in 2009-10 to 17.4% in 2023-24. Needless to say, there has been a corresponding rise in the share of conditional grants, increasing from 68.2% to 82.6% during this period. The overall development and welfare of the people essentially depend on the extent to which subnational entities, which are closer to the people, are enabled to provide the essential public goods. In India, fiscal federalism is increasingly becoming inimical to the above perspective. The fiscal federal relations in our country are being transformed from cooperative federalism to subordinated federalism or coercive federalism. In such centralization of fiscal power that forced Kerala to approach the Honorable Supreme Court to uphold the safeguards, the basic fiscal privileges of the state enshrined in our constitution. The TORs of the 16th Finance Commission are well within the constitutional framework. Having set the constitutional context, the 16th Finance Commission shall make its recommendations in the consultation with states by duly considering the contextual aspects. At the same time, we need to reckon with the fact that the institutions are expected to evolve and change in accordance with the changing needs of the time and the economic imperatives. When Finance Commission as an institution was established in our country in 1951, the prime concern was to facilitate equitable development of states by ensuring the provision of basic public good. the states were having very limited capacity. However, over time, there are numerous instances in this country where in the program, the policies initiated by the states have been accepted as national agenda. This is truly an indication of the capability that the states have built up over time. Yet, what we observe is the increasing intrusion of the union into many of the areas where the states have comparative advantage. The need of the hour is to recognize the role of the state governments in addressing major development challenges, their participation in nation building and reducing the growing vertical imbalance. So we need to ensure that given the increasing role of the state in the country, the share of the states in the individual pool should be at least 50%. Also, we need to ensure that ceiling is placed on the share of cess and surcharges to a maximum level of 5 to 10%. At the time of independence, Kerala was one of the backward states in the country with a per capita income lower than the national average. The story of development of the state since then is well known to be explained here. Achievements of Kerala model of development are widely known as and discussed. Kerala holds first rank in HDI SDG index and has life expectancy and IMR comparable even to the US. The state's focus on human capital implied considerable revenue expenditure for the state, but it did contribute much in terms of tax revenue. But our investment in human capital has helped the cause of nation building in a big way. Our migrant workers have contributed significantly to the foreign exchange earning of the nation. Kerala is also doing quite well and better than national average in economic growth as well as per capita income. Unfortunately, Kerala's gains have become a big liability for the state exchequer. Performance should not be taken as a negative aspect for dividing the divisible pool. Kerala is being penalized for its achievements. I have already mentioned about the reduction in the size of the divisible pool. That is about size of the cake is to be distributed. What about the distribution of the divisible pool among states? The fiscal equalization strategy followed by the country has turned out to be inimical to the state. Kerala's share in the divisible pool has declined drastically over the years. Kerala recorded the highest decline in her share from about 3.8% during the 10th Finance Commission to 1.9% during the 15th Finance Commission. The loss expressed in absolute numbers will be too huge and sensational, but this was the experience of many states, especially the southern states. In the future, we need to have a strategy of rewarding performance while handholding the laggards. When it comes to horizontal devolution, there are serious limitations in the existing criteria. For example, 45% of the total devolution is based on income criteria. Higher income states receiving lower share, presuming that they have the higher tax revenue potential for providing basic minimum public goods. However, studies have shown that there has been a steady decline in the tax base of high income states. They are confronted with the double whammy. While the tax base declined, their share in the divisible pool also declined. It is high time to revisit the income criterion, to say the least. There are also serious issues with the use of area, which assumes that states with a larger area have a disadvantage in providing public services. However, it needs to be noted that small states are also forced to incur high cost for providing public services. For example, the cost of construction of a kilometer of highway in Kerala is as high as rupees 100 crore when compared to the national average of rupees 30 crore. This makes the case for considering density of population along with the area of the state concerned. There are many such issues to be discussed. Our distinguished guests will have a lot to say on these issues. We are looking forward to your presentations. We sincerely hope that the 16th Finance recommendations will be able to address the concern of the nation and help build genuine cooperative federalism in the country. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We will now proceed to the inaugural ceremony of the conclave. I cordially invite Honorable Chief Minister of Kerala, Sri Pinarayi Vijayan, to inaugurate the conclave and to deliver the inaugural address. Sir, please.
My esteemed colleagues from Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Punjab, Telangana, leader of the opposition in the Kerala Legislative Assembly, Finance Minister Kerala, senior officials and scholars who have spared valuable time to attend this meeting. We are meeting here to discuss the issues that are to be highlighted before the 16th Finance Commission, which has since commenced its work. I would like to recall that a similar conclave was held in this same venue 7 years back to take a common stand on certain contestable aspects of the terms of reference of the 15th Finance Commission. I state with satisfaction that the common stand taken by us then was taken forward by submitting a memorandum to the Honorable President of India, and this resulted in many of these items in the TOR not being considered when the 15th Finance Commission submitted its recommendations. This time, the TOR of the 16th Finance Commission has been confined to what has been mandated in the Article 280 of the Constitution. Let me take this opportunity to inform that this was the demand of Kerala when the Union government had asked for suggestions on framing of the TOR of the 16th Finance Commission. Finance Commission, which has the constitutional role to act as an arbitrator of distributing a share of tax revenue collected by the Union to the states, and the disbursement of grants should not be tied down with an expansive TOR which would restrict its degrees of freedom. Besides the above two, the Finance Commissions have a very important mandate to recommend how the taxes are to be distributed among the states. This is an act of delicate balancing to be done by the Commission, especially when the levels of per capita income and development indicators vary widely across the states in India. Regarding both these mandates of the Finance Commission, we need to ponder over certain pertinent issues. As all of us present here are aware, the Finance Commissions recommend a prescribed share of net proceeds of the Union collected by the Union to the states. Article 270 of the Constitution, which stipulates this, excludes surcharges and cesses collected by the Union from the divisible pool of taxes shareable with the states. In the last decade, the surcharges and cesses have shown a rising trend and now comprise around 1/5 of the gross tax revenue of the Union. Its direct consequence is the shrinkage of the divisible pool of taxes. No observer of the Union-state relations can omit to take note of the fact that the rise in share of surcharges and cesses have happened at a time when the Finance Commissions from the 14th have recommended a higher share of the net proceeds of the taxes collected by the Union to be distributed to the states. Though this matter can be considered as outside the province of the Finance Commission, If a clinical interpretation of the constitutional provisions of Article 270 is taken, the 16th Commission needs to factor in this trend in surcharges and cesses when it recommends the prescribed share of the net proceeds of taxes collected by Union to be distributed to the states. Kerala had demanded in its memorandum to the 15th Finance Commission that the preceding share of taxes to the distributed to the states need to be raised to 50% of the net proceeds, considering the persisting vertical fiscal imbalance between the taxing powers and expenditure obligations of the Union and the states. Many other states have made this demand before the earlier Finance Commissions also, as can be seen from the report of the 12th Finance Commission. The demand for a higher share for the states in the taxes collected by the Union is having continued relevance, and it is my request to the eminent scholars and colleagues who are here to formulate this in a concrete manner. This will help the states to make an effective case before the 16th Finance Commission for raising the share of taxes which are distributed to the states in view of the widening vertical fiscal imbalances. The issue of distribution of taxes among the states also needs due consideration. The 16th Finance Commission has the task of delicately balancing the interests of the states which have a low per capita income and a larger share of population, and others which have achieved the aims of the National Population Policy 1976. While taking care of the interests of the former, the latter cannot be made to face continuously falling tax shares as has been happening. To cite the example of Kerala, our share in taxes has fallen from 3.05% in the 11th Finance Commission to 1.92% in the 15th Finance Commission. Other states whose representatives are here too have similar experience. Due consideration has to be given to the needs of states which have taken extra efforts to achieve health, education, and demographic indicators. In this act of delicate balancing, the 16th Finance Commission will have to carefully decide on the tax distribution formula and put to use effectively the constitutional provisions of Article 275 for disbursing grants to states in need. I am hoping that the experts present here will offer their valuable advice to us in presenting this issue before the 16th Finance Commission. I would also like to state here that the states and the local governments should be able to discharge their functions in the subjects constitutionally allotted to them in a manner that allows flexibility by taking care of jurisdictional peculiarities and at the same time keeping in mind national priorities. In this effort, it is important that they should get funds which do not come with conditionalities. The 16th Finance Commission has an important role to play in this. I do hope that the deliberations in this conclave will give the deserved importance to this aspect also. Before closing, let me remember with immense satisfaction that in the past, efforts taken by the states have been catalysts in highlighting the problems in center-state relations and initiatives for changes. Milestones in this regard are the P.V. Rajamannar Committee appointed by the government of late Kalaignar M. Karunanidhi in Tamil Nadu. The memorandum submitted by the left front government in West Bengal, led by late Jyoti Basu in 1977, demands raised in the Conclave of Chief Ministers in 1983, which resulted in the appointment of the Justice Sarkaria Commission to look into the union-state relations, and the conclave held here in 2017 demanding reconsideration of certain items in the TOR of the 15th Finance Commission. This conclave is taking place when our federal polity is facing several challenges and many states have been compelled to take legal course of action to enforce their constitutional rights. I earnestly hope that this conclave will be a landmark event which will make meaningful suggestions to strengthen the fiscal federal setup of our nation, a unique example to the world on unity in diversity. With these remarks, I formally declare this conclave open and look forward to the valuable suggestions that will emerge from its deliberations.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. I would now like to invite Sri V.D. Sadishan, Honorable Leader of Opposition, to address the conclave. Sir, please.
Honorable Chief Minister of Kerala, respected ministers and distinguished guests, on and off the dais, my dear friends, a very good morning to you all. Founding fathers of our Constitution created harmonious sort of federal structure. It involved a unique cooperative federalism. Cooperative federalism, to function in a true spirit, there must be fair distribution of resources between the center and the states. We have been following the Nehruvian planning for a long time. Unfortunately, there is no planning commission. Of course, there is no planning. The government of India given up the planning and they are behind the projects. What are the differences of planning and projects? The special features of planning is having priorities. The regional imbalance and the priorities should be given to women, children, backward communities, backward areas. In the projects, there are no priorities. Only some other interests are having. So, since there is no planning commission, our only hope is that the finance commission. But unfortunately, the planning commission, the finance commission is following some criteria, some flawed concepts, which are detrimental to the interest of the many states, especially the southern states. Article 70 of the Constitution specifies how net tax proceeds are distributed between the union government and the states. The Finance Commission was established for its purpose. However, the flawed criteria or the concepts for financial devolution have proven to be detrimental to the progress of several states. So, the important point is that the southern states receive much less than we contribute. We have to raise our contentions well in advance before the 16th Finance Commission to end this disparity. One of the, as stated by the Finance Minister of our state, one of the most important criteria for devolution used now is the per capita income disparity. This had a weightage of 50%, now it is 45%. As per the devolution criteria, states with a lower per capita income receive a higher share in order to ensure equity among states. Hence, states like Karnataka, Telangana, Andhra, Tamil Nadu and Kerala are always at the receiving end, receiving much less than we deserve. The devolution based on per capita income in itself is a flawed concept, ideally due to two prime reasons. Firstly, the GSTP is calculated based on a fictitious approach called an estimate. Hence, the per capita income, which is the GDP divided by population, will also be far away from reality in most cases. The calculation of the GDP itself is fictitious. Now they are trying to rate below the rate of the real rate of GDP. So our borrowing capacity, it affects our borrowing capacity also. Thus, devolving the tax proceeds, which is an absolute figure based on an estimate, needs an overall. Secondly, the whole world is talking about income disparity among nations. It is a reality that the difference between haves and have-nots is widening. Considering these two major reasons, it is amply clear that the per capita income will not be the correct scale to gauge the process of a state and is the main reason for several South Indian states not receiving their fair share as per the present scheme of tax devolution. The weightage of per capita income should be reduced to 10%. That should be our demand. There are more concrete figures in our economy and administration. For example, tax collection, revenue expenditure, etc. I am of the opinion that the devolution should be based on absolute figures rather than the estimated figures. In normal finance parlance, an increase in revenue expenditure would be considered bad economics. However, in the special scenario of our state, this may not be fully true. Productive expenditures like primary health, healthcare, primary education, policing, and of course the welfare measures like pensions, and even the salaries to faculties in aided institutions come under the umbrella of revenue expenditure. The huge revenue deficit granted by the 15th Finance Commission was for this reason. This windfall was at the mercy of the 15th Finance Commission. This is not a regular one. We cannot be at their mercy each time to receive this grant. This has to be part of the devolution criteria. Revenue expenditure in another way, the performance of the expenditure should be considered. Another major concern is with respect to the exclusion of, as Chief Minister and the Finance Minister said, the exclusion of cess and surcharge from devolution. The Union government is exploiting this loophole to move money to their bag. Concerns are raised regarding the exclusion of cess and surcharge from the divisible pool of tax revenue, leading to a reduction in states' share of tax revenue. Cess and surcharge collected by the Union government is estimated is around 23% of its gross tax receipts for the 24-25 financial year. 23% of the total tax receipts, which does not form part of the divisible pool and hence not shared with the states. This needs a major change. Another much talked about criteria is, previously until the 14th Finance Commission, population from the 1971 census was considered, but this practice was discontinued in the 15th Finance Commission. Now population as per the 2011 census is considered. States that have exercised strict population control as per government policy have to suffer because of the flawed criteria. Kerala is a disaster-prone area. We are going through calamities due to climate change, sea erosion in the western coast, landslides, extreme heavy rain, cloud bursts, and many calamities. According to IPCC report and NASA analysis on that, the Arabian Sea will be turbulent, more turbulent. What happened in the last 2-3 decades in the Bay of Bengal. So the western coast in a vulnerable position. That the possibilities of disasters, calamities are higher. So the climate change should be a component deciding the devolution of taxes. We need more money for mitigation process, for rehabilitation process, and setting up mechanism for warning system and evacuation plan. We need more money. So the 16th Finance Commission onwards, the major component, one of the major components should be the climate change and other calamities. Kerala is a disaster-prone area with its long shore and landslide-prone hills. natural disasters are becoming common. The state also has a vulnerable population. For example, the fishermen community who depend on the sea for their livelihood. Their products have high international market. It is imperative to include disaster vulnerability and vulnerable population as criteria while devolving taxpayers. The same situation for the farmers in the Western Ghats. They are facing human-animal conflicts and many other landslides calamities. Another important aspect in the devolution is the proportion of dense forest area in each state compared to the total dense forest area across all the states. States like Arunachal Pradesh had received windfall benefits owing to this criteria. Kerala, with a 3.5 crore population, got 1.92%, while Arunachal Pradesh with just 18 lakh population got 1.8%. Arunachal has deep forests. This criteria should have been altered to include the vulnerable population near forests as well. The actual money spent by the state for the conservation of the forest related activities should be a deciding factor. The Finance Commission should recognize states' efforts in population control, with the states exhibiting lower fertility ratios receiving higher scores. Linking additional devolution to performance indicators in areas like good governance, transparency, and development outcomes could incentivize responsible resource management. They should also be considered by the Commission. Improvement in carbon neutrality as an incentive measure can also be suggested. I hope we have to stand together and fight for our rights. I think we can win in this fight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to invite Sri Bhatti Vikramarka Mallu, Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, Telangana, to address the conclave. Sir, please.
Honorable Chief Minister of Kerala, Sri Pinarayi Vijayanji, Honorable Leader of Opposition, Kerala, Sri Satishanji, Honorable Finance Minister of Kerala, Sri Balagopalji, Honorable Finance Minister of Tamil Nadu, Sri Thangam Tennarasji, Honorable Minister for Revenue, Karnataka, Sri Krishna Bhaira Gowdaji, Honorable Finance Minister from Punjab, Sri Harpal Singh Chimaji, I am both honored and humbled to address you today on the crucial matter of fiscal federalism. A cornerstone of our federal system. Federalism is a basic feature of the Constitution of India. The financial relationship between the center and the states is not merely a technicality. It embodies principles of equity, autonomy, efficiency, and the very future of Indian federalism. There is no other way to ensure India thrives as a democracy in diversity. The center's failure to uphold these principles is hindering state development, determining the federal structure, and creating a sense of inequity. Our constitutions framers envisaged a system where both the center and the state would be strong within their respective spheres, equipped with the resources necessary to fulfill their duties and responsibilities. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar stressed the need to limit the center's powers to ensure genuine provincial autonomy. I quote, "To make provincial autonomy real, the powers of the central government must also be limited. Otherwise, it would be in a position to enter this for the purpose of conquering the domain of the provinces." Unquote. His words have proved prophetic. Sadly, in recent times, we have witnessed an erosion of this vision. The center's increasing financial dominance is leaving states with insufficient funds for their development. The 14th Finance Commission's decision to increase the state's share in central taxes from 32% to 42% was misleading. It merely shifted funds from tied grants with specific conditions to untied ones with greater flexibility, not a genuine increase in resources. The center's growing reliance on cesses and surcharges not shared with states has soared to over 28% of the center's gross tax revenue. This trend significantly diminishes the resources available to states. Cesses and surcharges have become permanently temporary and creates the impression that they are primarily intended to deny states their due share. Delays in GST compensation have further strained state finances, hindering our ability to plan and execute budgets effectively. This creates uncertainty and hampers development initiatives also. Southern states, despite their significant contribution to the GDP over 30% and representing a considerable portion of the population, 19.6%, have seen their share in tax devolution decline from 21.073% under Finance Commission 11 to just 15.800% under Finance Commission 14. The use of 2011 population figures in determining devolution penalizing states with successful population control, discouraging social development and good governance. This trend is just unjust and creates a sense of unfairness among states that have prioritized sustainable development and demographic discipline. Centrally sponsored schemes come with rigid guidelines and matching grant requirements that strain state budgets. States often have to allocate their own resources to meet the center's conditions, diverting funds from other crucial areas of local importance and urgency. One size fits all is not the way for a regionally diversified country like ours. The disproportionate increase in centrally sponsored scheme budgets compared to Finance Commission grants further aggravates this imbalance. Centralizing financial control and limiting states' autonomy in decision making in 2024-25, while central sponsored scheme amount surged to rupees 4.80 lakh crore Finance Commission grants declined to 1.32 lakh crore, less than a third of centrally sponsored grants. The looming political threat is delimitation. The upcoming delimitation exercise based on 2011 population data is expected to reduce southern states' political representation in Lok Sabha. The lower house of parliament. This threatens to marginalize southern states and undermine their political voice in national decision making. States that have prioritized population control and social development could be unfairly penalized, while those with higher population growth may gain disproportionate representation in the Lok Sabha. We need to allow the American system where the number of representatives in the House of Representatives is fixed at a maximum of 435 for the last 1 century. States requires the center's consent for borrowing of if indebted to it. However, the center itself often exceeds its own fiscal deficit targets, which currently stands at 5.6% of GDP. This creates an unjust situation where fiscally responsible states are restricted in their borrowing capacity while the center enjoys greater financial flexibility. It is necessary that the Kerala interpretation of Article 293 is followed and the powers of center are redefined in favor of state fiscal autonomy. The framers of our constitution never intended centralized financial control. The Finance Commission was established to ensure a fair and equitable distribution of resources between the center and states. I suggest that we study the impact of devolving more funds to the poorer states so that we can explore changes if necessary. It is time to adopt a composite index that includes not only per capita income but also other relevant criteria. Criteria like rate of development and index of equity. Funds for fiscal efficiency should be raised from a meager 2.5% to encourage performing states. We must recalibrate the balance of power between the center and the states to ensure a truly federal system. Increasing the state share in central taxes from 41% to 50%, resisting the center's increasing use of cesses and surcharges, reducing the centrally sponsored schemes and allowing the states to spend on their local priorities. Protecting the political representation of southern states in the delimitation process, granting greater autonomy in borrowing for fiscally prudent states. This is not just about technical adjustments. It's about justice, equity, and the future of Indian federalism. We must ensure our states have the resources and autonomy needed to chart their own development path, fulfilling the vision of our Constitution's framers, a strong and prosperous union of states working together for the collective good. Thank you, and I thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would like to invite Sri Pankam Tenarasa, Honorable Minister for Finance and Human Resources Management, Tamil Nadu, to address the conclave.